Ex-Member Erasure Episode 2, The Red Hot Chili Peppers. This series where we kind of look at bands that may have not have been the most respectful to their ex-band members in one way or another, kind of erasing their legacy a little bit. And in this episode, the reason for this is due to one culprit, Mr. John Frusciante. So the band have been going since the early 80s, but John and Chad, the lineup everyone knows the Chili Peppers to be, did not really form until the late 80s, and it was Mother's Milk and Blood Sugar that really catapulted the band into fame. However, after being catapulted into fame, John Frusciante, dealing with a number of problems, couldn't hack it, falling out with Anthony Kiedis, and left the band, leading the band to carry on without him, with Dave from Jane's Addiction taking his place and producing the album One Hot Minute. However, John came back shortly after. He wasn't gone that long, and after that came out, he kind of straight up just outright refused to play any of the music that had been produced without him in the band, besides the first 3 albums, which he rarely plays. So already we kind of have one album from this band that is kind of scrubbed out the live set list, but it gets better. In the late 2000s, after the Chili's completed their best ever album, Stadium Arcadium, fight me on that, John left again. This time it was a bit less justifiable. It just seemed like he had a bit of burnout and walked out from the band. As you can imagine, this must have been a really kind of difficult moment for the band, and I think at this point it was make or break, and they decided to carry on with Josh Klinghoffer, someone who'd actually been in the band for quite some time at this point as a touring musician. Not only that, but he'd kind of been John Frusciante's apprentice. He was good friends with John Frusciante. They worked together on a lot of stuff, and he picked up a lot of his styles and signature moves from John Frusciante. So throughout the 2010s, as John went off on his solo career, the Red Hot Chili Peppers produced I'm With You in 2011, and The Getaway in 2016. However, around late 2019, early 2020, John Frusciante came back with his tail between his legs, wanting to rejoin the band. Josh Klinghoffer was invited round to, I think it was Flea's house, and brought into the garden and sacked. Nice way of doing it. The album Josh had been working on alongside the Chili Peppers was scrapped, and the band kind of forgot about that whole period. And guess what? John Frusciante refuses to play or even listen to the 2 albums that Josh appeared on. Basically meaning that this band has 3 albums in their back catalogue that you will never hear live again unless John decides to leave again, which is possible.